I walk onto site, and I'm really proud to be there, and I'm proud to see the guys and to know that I'm walking onto site owning it.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We are back in the shed this afternoon for another cracking episode. So I'm stoked for this one as usual. So something a little different. I really love it when we get female guests come in because I think they're a really valuable part of our industry, and I think they're definitely playing a huge role in creating a new industry, but a more professional industry. So massive big warm welcome for Kim from CRA Constructions. So pretty professional plastering setup. And
yeah, we hope so.
and Kim, you're the office manager in the business.
I am, yeah. I run the back end and the front end and sideways, all around, yep.
So I think I'm pretty sure we got connected to you through my wife going through to a few of Amanda's events. So
yeah, so she came to a luncheon that I gave a speech at, and overheard and like what I said, I guess, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah, so look, like I said, I think females definitely play a really important role in our business. I think they're very overlooked. People would have heard me say a lot of times, like, I think our industry is run off the back of so many females that are not only possibly doing the admin and the office work and all the behind the scenes for their husbands, but a lot of the time doing it after hours and on top of their own their own interests.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that your story? Like, is that?
Yeah, so I always ran my husband's books when he was a sole trader or going into his own businesses for years on end, but very basic MYOB skills of, just getting that BAS submitted every quarter. But when we created CRA, we had to do it very, very quickly and on the fly. And we had me home on maternity leave and didn't really have an opportunity for me to go back to work or anything like that. So we had no choice. We had to make it work. We had no other income. So we dove in deep and went, how are we going to make this work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you, have you done professional learning, gone courses, seminars, because you've obviously jumping in the deep end, because you're a big setup now.
Yeah.
What is it, 14, 15 employees?
Yeah. So the first year my accountant was my best friend pretty well. I just called him with so many questions. He taught me who the QBCC was. He taught me, I understood, ASIC and all this sort of stuff, but he really taught me what I really needed as a company. We initially set up as a trust and then realised QBCC doesn't allow that, and we had to, refinance this and change this ownership and da-da-da-da-da. And
I think just what you've just said there is a clear example of the difference between a female and a bloke. Blokes will not pick up the phone and ring QBCC or ring an accountant and say, hey, I need this advice. Well, very, very few blokes. But they'll go to site, talk to their mate on site and say, hey, I've got another mate and you should talk to him. You've actually done the right thing and got professional advice.
We learnt very, very quickly that you can't have an ego in business, especially when you're trying to set up a business. We just went, look, we will absorb absolutely everything we can from whomever we can. And no matter how big we get, we will go to any networking event and we just listen. We just purely absorb. And no one knows what level we are until they get in a really deep conversation with us and we're like, oh yeah, we're on the same par, but they'll tell us their secrets because everyone loves to brag and we're just here to listen. So it's great. But yeah, no, so the first year I did a very quick social media course, got an understanding and quickly learned that, plasterers, it's quite a boring trade. It's just a white wall. How can I make this exciting? How can I make people want to follow me? And in time, it's paid off. We get a lot of our new builders from Instagram or social media now, and it's just finding the unique touch that everyone seems to want to know what you do and how you do it and why you do it. And
so how are you doing that? How are you out on site taking photos and things, or your boys taking photos?
It's a bit of a mixed bunch. So my guys don't like being in front of the camera.
Yeah, I get that. Our team, I'm all over socials now, but I respect my team. All my team like I see these builders on Instagram and like their team are posting videos and photos and tagging them in and all this sort of shit.
Yeah.
And my team just doesn't do that. And I respect that. Like some people just don't want to have their face out there.
Yeah, or they don't have the ego to go, oh, look at my good work. You know,
Yeah,
some of them do, and I love it. Like when they
Yeah.
send me footage, I'm all for it, and I quickly put up a reel or quickly put up a photo or something, because people want to see what we're truly doing, not just a painted product.
Yeah.
But it's hard. So I go to site, not all the time. My husband, he's, what's his role now? He is pretty well full-time our estimator or quoter, but he's on site. He'll drop in just to catch up with everyone, or our supervisor will take some footage.
Yeah.
But I just take what I can get, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then I make do. So
Because you don't need a lot, do you? Like, like a day taking photos can give you 2 months or a month of socials.
yeah. It's only just recently that we've invested into professional photos. We know that there's a change coming to the industry, and
Because
we're
that's
just
unusual for a plasterer.
yeah.
Like, what? Like, don't take this the wrong way, but like, what are you taking professional photos of the finished project or just your work? Like
Our work.
Yeah.
We find most builders or clients aren't interested in the plasterer or acknowledging our work, so we need to find a way to do that.
Everyone thinks it's the paint.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks the paint is the finish, but
Yeah,
like there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah, or it's more so, the stone or the tile or the, the cabinetry, or, the plumber and the sparky. They're in the early stages, and then again the later stages. So they're involved in this project. We just come in and slap some walls on and off we go, sort of thing. So to actually get good quality footage of our guys and them in action and getting headshots, and it just puts us up another level of what we're trying to show ourselves as, which is a professional company.
Yeah. And that's what you bring to the business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, having a female support in a business, like I believe straight away adds that level of professionalism.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about before we started recording, like blokes handle things very differently than what females do. Females bring that, I don't know, is it a motherly touch or something? Like communicate a lot better, interact better.
The amount of times my guys have asked me to buy them singlets in summer, no way, no chance. They are all in collared shirts.
Yeah.
They are all wearing their uniform. They are clean, and they're presentable, because that's what we're trying to portray, not someone that just rocks up with whatever, that thought about, what they're doing that day 5 minutes ago. We want to be prepared, presented, and ready to go. Because that's who we are.
Yeah, and it's important, isn't it? Like everyone, especially these days with social media, like you want to be presenting well, and I do think work shirts are a big important part of a business now. Like if you're not investing in shirts and hats and jumpers, like jumpers are huge now, having hoodies and stuff. Like it's an important part, because that's how, if your guys are calling into the servo or the shops on the way in from work and stuff, like that's how they're going to be seen.
Yeah, I finally got it right this year and found the best hoodie ever, apparently, and the best hat ever, that they're actually proud to wear them, out of work hours. It's the best compliment for me ever, because I've been trying for 5 years.
Yeah.
But you find a supplier, they all want to spruik their stuff. They won't tell me what the best one is or the coolest one is, or, but apparently I nailed it this year.
No, good on you. So what's your main role in the business now? Like it sounds like you're overseeing everything.
Yeah. We're at a point of our business where we have focused this past year on offloading work from my husband's side of things. So he was supervising beforehand, and we finally hired a full-time supervisor. So he's quoting. I'm still got my hands in everything. So I will schedule our jobs. I deal with our staff when they've got an issue arising. I do all our marketing. Accounting, all the bookwork. I have myself an offsider who does the very basics, just to save me time in that regard, and do all the typing and whatever else that needs be. But I like to have a handle on it, and then once we grow that next level, then I'll get someone in to offload a bit more full time for me. Yeah.
And so how do you interact with builders? Like, cause all of our jobs have full schedules now, and I know there's a lot of trades love it, and we do our best to make sure we sort of stick to that within a few days here and there. But like, are the builders you're working for having schedules, and like, is that one of your biggest headaches, like knowing when to stop and start a job and go back? And
Well, that is why I am scheduling, because it used to be all in my husband's head and his mind was just exploding. And to be able to book in the sheeters and then the setters and then everyone else in between, we would do probably 5 to 20 jobs a week. And we now I schedule absolutely everyone. So, and we work it. So if there is a delay, most builders, we would have probably 20% to 30% that would send me a schedule. And most of them will get pushed out, and you just have to adapt.
So what happens to the other 70%? They just ring you on the phone
We
and
are
say,
their scheduler. So I would contact them, or I'll just say, hey guys, where you're at, let me know. And it's all touching base. Most of the builders, so you either have the high-end builder who's, got a lot of offsiders and has a big team, or you've got the builder who is still, trying to do it himself, and he's on the tools still, and he's doing things at night once the kids go to bed. We're their support. So we make their life easy.
Yeah. Look, we're not sponsored by Tom's Planner, but we do use Tom's Planner. And if you're not doing schedules, you've got no excuse now. We're talking about AI just before we started recording. You can get on Tom's Planner now and say, give me a schedule to build a house, and it will produce a full schedule start to finish. And last time I talked about this, I used footings, but when it comes to plastering, like, it'll just have plastering in the schedule. If you tell it, give me more detail on plastering, it'll break the plastering down into sheeting, setting, cornice, and then you just basically just pick and choose what you want to keep and what you don't. Like, it's insane. Awesome. So for any builders out there that aren't scheduling, you need to get on board with that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for you trades, isn't it? Like, I often think, like, it's one of those things, like, you don't know what you don't know. And like, when you're head down, bum up in the trenches and you're trying to run your business and keep the cash flow and keep the ball rolling, it can be like any trader or builder you ask, the first thing they say when you ask them anything is, I've got no time. Like, but like, I remember back in the day, like, similar to your husband, like, everything was either in my head or in my diary, and I'd literally be turning up to a site, seeing where the boys are at, and then ringing the plumber Sparky, hey, we're ready for rough, and hey, ringing the plasterer, hey, we're going to be ready in 2 weeks, how are you traveling? Oh shit, I didn't know you're 2 weeks away. Like, I can't do that. Like,
so many of our builders, we just have to keep touching base with them. What have you got coming up? What have you got coming up? And we just pre-schedule it. So I've got a line-by-line item of what's coming up over the months, and then I've got our diary calendar, and then I just analyse it every single day, because if we miss something, that's what happens. You're due here next week, and we're like, well, Manitou's 3 weeks away. They're pre-booked out. It's things that you have to be organised.
The thing that it's made me realise, like, back when I was running a bad business, like, I wasn't just affecting me. I was, even though a lot of my trades weren't running good businesses either, I was affecting them even more, because like, you guys, I get it. Like, if you guys are booked to turn up to a site and rock up there and all of a sudden you can't do it, like, you've got to quickly scramble and try and find work for your guys, or worse, you send them home and you're probably still paying them.
So we will, we have to adapt. So that's why we have multiple jobs. So we overbook. We have to learn to overbook, because so many jobs get pushed out so quickly and schedules change so every single day that we just have to learn to accommodate. So our ideal scenario is to have a few guys on the one job site, but typically they're either stretched so thin that they're either by themselves with an apprentice, or by themselves and the apprentice goes elsewhere, or we're constantly having to reshuffle them around. But it's what we've had to learn to make our business work, because we have no choice. We will lose that builder if we can't meet their workload. They'll, especially in the past 2 years, the builder would wait, and the builder's gotten used to waiting. But we don't want that, because we want to be that plasterer that the builder chooses to work with when it gets quiet. When they have a plethora of plasterers to choose from, we want to be that one. So, and that's
the ideal position. Like, and when you run a good business, it's the same as us for building for clients. Like, we want to be the builder that when the industry slows down, we've still got miles of work, because clients see and value what we deliver. So, I think for trades that are listening, like, it's really important to be stepping up your business, isn't it? Because like, let's face it, like it can't continue to be as busy as it's been for the last 2 years. Like there is going to get a time when it slows down.
Yeah.
And if you're running a not so good business, you're going to be the first one that isn't getting the work.
Yeah, so we've spent the past, we know it, we've known it's going to slow down for, what goes up, it's always got to come down, right?
Yeah.
So we've spent the past 2 years pre-planning. We've got a business coach, a business mentor, and we go, this is what we want. These are our goals. This past year, we've invested heavily into the business, which we've never really done before because...
I love it.
Yeah, well, my husband's always been like, oh, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. And I'm going, we do.
That's the bloke thing,
That's
see?
a bloke thing, absolutely. So we've gone and bought a fleet of cars. We bought them instead of leased them because this is long term. Where our company we want here in 20 years' time. We can afford it now, so let's take that investment and put it into the future. We've gone and put it into marketing because we want to produce a brand for our company that people are going to remember in 6 months' time, a year's time. They're going to know us and see us and go, I want that plasterer on my site.
Yeah.
And that's all we can hope for.
Yeah. I love that you said you're investing in mentoring and coaching. Like I can't believe I never did it for so long. Like, I was exactly like your husband. I used to think, I know that. I don't need that. Like, why would I waste my money getting told that? Like, but it's just, I don't know what it is, but it works.
It's a game changer.
The more, whatever money you spend on yourself,
Yes.
you're going to get it back 10, 20, 100-fold.
Yes. Yes, and we went into it with the attitude, we're plasterers, why would we need that? And it has blown our mind.
Yeah.
And we have a business coach and a mentor, two completely different people who bring their own qualities to each conversation that we have. And we're meeting with them fortnightly.
So what are the types of things you're discussing?
Yeah, so the business coach will go through mainly what's the issues with our staff, what's procedures, implementing policies. It might be, here's a document for XYZ that's going to help us set up a overall bigger picture. The mentor, she's run companies 20 million plus, and she simply is gearing us not to get to that level. We don't want to be at that level, but most certainly how to grow. So we've always been hesitant. We knew we needed to hire a supervisor. We knew we needed to invest into the company, and she's given us the confidence to do that and know that we're investing in the correct places instead of just throwing money at XYZ and God hope it works,
It's unreal, isn't it? Like it's funny how sometimes you need that outside voice to put it in a way that, I don't know if you understand it better or whatever, but just like when you invest in other people in your business, it gives you the time back to be able to grow the business and work on the business and work on yourself, which then flows back into the business, and it just starts snowballing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And we're also a husband team. So as you can imagine, I have an idea, he has an idea, and these ideas don't meet in the line. And then all of a sudden we don't talk. And, it reflects on the staff and it reflects on just everyday life. And everyone hates everyone. And this mediator of our business mentor goes, guys, Kim's right. And my husband goes, okay. No, it's not always that way, but I definitely get put in my place, and it's easier to swallow when it's from a third party.
Yeah.
So, but she teaches us how to, what to do slow, what to do quick, what to jump, when to jump, how to jump. And then we obviously choose. And then if we act on the fly, which she hates, we get told off for it and told why we've done that wrong, and why we should have thought about it better, or why we should have implemented this first. But
a business is no different to like a sporting team or something, isn't it? Like if you want to get to that next level and stop, like I believe my big change was when I stopped blaming the world and everyone and everything in it. I took responsibility and I started running my own race.
Yeah.
And coaching and mentoring seminars, like we've gone to the States for seminars, we've gone to Sydney, Melbourne, like yes, they can cost a lot of money, but seriously, like you get that money back so quickly.
Yeah, you really, really do. We're even we've changed our attitude for training our staff. Like my husband was not interested in upskilling to begin with. Once you're a plasterer, you're a plasterer. So, we're big on upskilling them as much as we put into ourselves. We repay the favour or just grow the team in general.
How do you find that? How do you find that works? Like I try heavily to do that with my team, and there's certain things like I find it hard. Like everyone's different personalities, different opinions and things. Some guys jump on it, some guys aren't interested. Like what? How do you make that work?
So I don't know. We're about to release doing Venetian plastering, and we have found that it's created a whole new passion for a lot of our guys. It's the flames lit again.
Yeah.
You know, they're ready to go. Yeah, this is awesome. You know, yeah, I want to get like it's instead of just throwing mud every day, and you know, it gets very tedious, very repetitive. You know, it's growing the passion for what they can do, and
because that's another important part of it, isn't it? Like, if you can't keep the passion there, eventually you're just going to turn into that shitty old tradie that like doesn't like going to work.
Correct. And it's just how we're all experiencing with COVID, with, you know, the great resignation. It's trying to prevent that. So if we can keep our staff, keep them happy, allow them to want to grow with us and have them feeling like they're growing with us instead of just, you know, staying down the bottom or just continuing to plateau along, that they'll be passionate and they'll show our values and continue to show our values on site. Otherwise, you know, we're creating might be great at marketing, but not great at executing on site. And a builder's going to very quickly see that. Yeah. So you kind of want it to flow all the way through instead of just me saying this is how we're going to look, but not actually be.
Yeah. Do you think it attracts a different type of employee to your business?
Yeah. So we only put our guys on full time. We find that it's a different breed of, not different breed, it's a different type of staff, right? Yeah. So you've got the go-getter who's on ABN, they want to, you know, earn every single dollar possible. And then we are here saying, all right, let's change your theory and let's earn a wage. But guess what? You're probably going to be earning similar money when you do your tax return, but that's another learning curve.
The industry is run off ABN, isn't it?
Oh, it does my head in. Yeah. It does my head in. But, you know, it's all, we're just trying to change our industry in that regard. If we can encourage more plasterers off ABN and onto full time and allow them to grow with a company instead of feeling like they're on their own.
How do you, can you talk us a little bit more through, because I think this is a really important topic. Like I think, because I learnt the hard way. I jumped into business, grew very quickly, had heaps of guys on. A workplace health and safety officer rocked into my site. I've told this story before on my podcast, and I got in trouble for some workplace health and safety stuff, but what I didn't realise, they worked in with the ATO, and the ATO obviously works in with super and stuff, and before I knew it, I wasn't just getting fined for workplace and safety, I was getting backdated for not paying my guys super and all sorts of things. And what I learnt through that was it was all to do with the structures and how they were invoicing me and how many hours they worked for me. Like there was, and so I learnt the hard way. So, and again, look, people need to get their own advice, but my understanding is that anybody that gets paid a day rate or an hourly rate must be paid super and work cover on top of that if they're working for someone for a certain length of time. And I find it amazing. Like every time we put an ad out to get new employees into the business, when it comes to talking about the hourly rate or how they want to get paid, because I give everyone the option now. Like it used to be, this is the hourly rate, this is what you're going to get. Whereas now I'm the same. Well, I think I'm similar to you. Like we say, look, we'd like to have you on like full-time wages salary. Like you might not get quite as much an hour, but over the year, same thing. You will get more. You'll get paid holiday, sick day, like all this stuff. It's so much better. And when you start talking rates, like the amount of people that say to me, I want this much. And I say, right, well, look, I probably can't pay you that because by the time I add super and work cover on, you're actually going to get this. And they're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. I don't get super and work cover. Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you have to get paid super and work cover. Like, are you not getting paid? And like, I would say it's 9 out of 10 people. Yeah. Like, so we're ending up with, and look, I know from dads and uncles and things that are in the industry as well, like you end up with these older trades that have nothing to retire with. Oh, 100%. The amount of guys that are so desperate to come back to work after the holiday period because they haven't earned money for 2 or 3 weeks, you know, over Christmas, and they're just scratching to come back to work. Whereas my guys get paid over Christmas and they come back relaxed, ready to hit the ground running. They're spending all their money drinking and not putting it away for tax and GST. Oh, 100%. Yep. 100%. Yeah, I've come from a salary background, and when we've gone into this, I've gone, nah, like I don't believe it's
My opinion is I only want our guys on full time. I only want them to, I know it reduces their stress is my biggest thing.
Yeah.
So when they're on ABN, they are spending all their tax, they're not receiving super, or they're spending their money that they should be putting aside for super. And they're exhausted because they're just running to earn the money. And that's fine. Look, I'll pay you overtime if you want to do that, but let's do it right.
Yeah.
And
it actually works out better for them, because if they're on a salary, because if you're on an hourly rate, you just get paid the same rate for the hours you work. If you're on a salary, I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't know, the first 2 hours are at your normal rate, and then it goes to time and a half, and then it goes to double time, and then you get, if you work public holidays or night shift, you can get double time. It's actually a better way to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I am very strict. My husband maybe not so much, but anyone who's on ABN with us, so a sheeting team. So they are a company, they're registered for GST, and they are paying, they have a team.
Yeah.
They'll produce their own material if need be. They're paying everyone a salary or their own staff. That's who I am willing to work with.
So they contract to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a bit different to a full-time employer.
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because a full-time employee, they're struggling because they've been pushed into an ABN and that's all they now know. And not to discredit anyone on that, but the reality is that most people aren't educated enough to understand what they're entering into.
Yeah. And it blows my mind, every time we finish an apprentice up, they have to go and do this so-called 2 or 3 day small business course before they'll actually this is a whole other topic, and I'm sure it's the same for your industry, but it shits me to tears that, because the other thing that happens when we try and find carpenters, they come to us because they want to do a carpentry role, and so one thing we do now is we ask them for their license. 8 out of 10 of them aren't licensed. They just think because they finished their apprenticeship they're a licensed carpenter, and so they're actually asking me for top dollar and they're not even licensed. It drives me insane.
Yep.
But they finish their time, and the ones that do follow through and go and do this shitty little small business course, it blows my mind that they're not getting taught at those courses structures.
Absolutely.
This is the different structures, this is the benefits, this is the disadvantages.
They need to be taught it in school is the reality.
Well, yeah.
We so a few of our guys have come to us, been a plasterer for 20 years, not qualified, because to do the bookwork was just too difficult, but they've been doing it long enough. They know what they're doing, so we qualify them.
Yeah.
You can RPL them. We've got 2 or 3 of our apprentices are mature age who have been working as a plasterer, but they don't know what they really should be doing. They're calling themselves a plasterer, and so we say, look, you're not at the level we need you to be. If you want to work for us, do you want an apprenticeship? And these guys are going, yeah. So they're mature age. They are still on all right money, and they are being taught properly. And the whole overall picture, instead of just, here's a bit of mud and shove it on the wall.
What's your opinion on, I did a video on my socials yesterday and got a lot of mixed reaction, but especially the last couple of years, everyone is wanting big dollars.
Yeah.
And so I've sort of learnt over the last little while, and I've done it with my core team for years. I basically say, look, I will pay you whatever you want if you add that value to my business.
Yep.
And so I don't have any set hourly rates, any set wages or salaries or anything. To me, it's all up to them.
Yep.
And I found that works really well, putting it back on them. And because I think there's a lot of people out there, and it's been, I think, exposed or highlighted a lot in the last 12, 18 months with everything being so busy. We've lost a couple of apprentices that, don't get me wrong, fantastic kids, had heaps of potential, but nowhere near ready to be a left alone lead carpenter and run a job.
Yep.
But and I knew that because they've done their time with me, and I'm not prepared to pay them. They want to finish their time and go straight on to lead carpenter rates.
Of course they do.
And so I kick back. But because it's been so busy, they just ring an ad in the paper for a guy chasing a carpenter. He doesn't know their background or their experience, pays them the big dollars.
Yep, absolutely.
And we're just fueling an industry that's full of not fully qualified people.
Yeah, I'm the same. We have a starting rate and that's what you go on.
Yeah.
And then you prove you can either run a job yourself or you have the skills that we actually need, not what the pictures you've sent me.
Yeah.
And you prove, and then it's a good 6 months at least of what jobs we're putting you on. We double them in different styles. And if they're worthy and they can prove, then absolutely they get a pay rise.
Yeah, and you can do, like I tell my guys, like we always do a 12-monthly review, but like it's ones that are the younger ones that are wanting to work their way up, or even ones that have been around a long time. Like if I can see that they're like one of the responses I got back to my video I did yesterday was, how can you tell if someone's adding value? And I'd sent back, like it took me half an hour. Sent this big message back. I was like, mate, if they're saving your time, if you're not doing things twice, if they're not wasting materials, if you're getting compliments from clients about them or other team members, or like, and the ways you can't tell, like if the rest of your team's whinging about them, if they're not adding into the culture or the team environment, like there's so many ways they can add value.
Yeah.
But the like for me, it's the simple ones. Like if they're doing their job well, getting it done in a timely manner, cleaning up after themselves, acting professionally, like it's a no-brainer. They're adding value. And if they're doing all those things and taking the stress off me and giving me the trust to let them stay on site and give them responsibilities, and I know it's going to get done well, that's the value.
100%.
Like, I'm going to come back. Like I think the whole world's probably gone a little bit funny with, and look, this might stir people up, but I believe a lot of people, especially in this day and age with the social media, are trying to keep up with the Joneses. They're living beyond their means.
Yep.
And they're expecting their employers to pay for it.
Oh, I get this asked of me all the time. Cost of living's gone up. I need a pay rise. I'm sorry, but no, I'm adjusting my budget at home. Why can't you?
Same deal. Like I have this conversation quite a bit. Like I'm not making more money. Like I've had to sell things, or I've had to adjust my lifestyle, so you do it too.
Or the fact that we've been renovating homes for a long time. That's why we live in the home we live in today. It just doesn't given to you. We've lived in shells of a home just like yourself at the moment. You know, we've done that. We've done our time.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think like people don't see all that, and that like it does shit me when people just expect to get that extra money just because they want to live a certain way. Like, I think it's that instant gratification thing too. Like everyone wants to drive around in the new car and have the new big TV and the new this and that and go on the holidays and things. Like, because it's funny, when I did that video, I also got quite a lot of comments from people saying, mate, I'm with you. Like I took a pay cut and I went and worked for this. Like one of the comments I got, this guy said, I took a pay cut from $45 back to $30 an hour to work with this carpenter because he's an incredible craftsman. And what I learned off him for 2 years, it was a struggle to pay my bills, but what I learned in that 2 years has set me up for life.
Yep.
And so it's funny. Look, obviously everyone sees value in different things and we're all brought up differently and stuff, but as an employer, it's hard. Some of these conversations.
Bang your head against a wall. My gosh. And you just sit there with your smile. Sure.
Because it's like, I think, I don't know, I'm so passionate about, like, for me, it's all about, like, I've got to be able to, like, it's not just about the value they're adding to me. Like, I have to be able to add value to my client.
Yes.
And so it's a flow-on effect. Like, if you've got people coming to you and wanting paid big bucks and you're paying them big bucks, then you as a plasterer has got to come to me as a builder with a big price, and then me as a builder's got to go to the client with a big price. And then we're back in this situation where everybody's whinging about the cost of building.
Yep.
The same people that are whinging about the overall cost of building are whinging that they're not getting paid enough.
Yep. So, well, it's exactly what's happened the past 2 years with this boom. We've put our rates up just like every other trade, but we've passed that along to our employees. But the problem is now that they're still coming to us to say, hey, where's some more money, thanks. And we've reached the limit, because we're going to, if we keep going, we'll push ourselves out of the market. And we already know that we are at the absolute high end because of what we're producing on site. But you can, if they want a job next week, they're done. Like, we need to be able to afford to pay everyone.
Yeah. And so it comes back to the adding value thing. Like you've got to, and that flows through, like they've got to add value. Like I said, I'll pay anyone whatever they want if they're adding that much value to my business that I then can add to my client.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, the client's the one that's wearing all of this. So we could bang on about that for hours, but so back, like, what type of work do you guys do? So like what's your background? Where did you come from to
me? So I was in mortgage broking and selling property apartments off plan. And yeah, it was very nice and taught me a lot of marketing. And it was a small business that I was working for, so you have to do everything. So yeah, it was a very good opening into our business.
And what are you doing? Renovations, new homes, do you commercial?
Yeah, for CRA. So we are we're high end. So we will do any high end renovation new build in inner city Brisbane. The Paddingtons, the Ascots, the Indooroopillis, the all the beautiful builds that we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely show us the plans and let us quote.
Yeah.
But then we also we follow the builder. So if he's going to do a bathroom to fill in some time, which a lot of builders do, absolutely we'll help out. If they're, a builder's father fell into a wall during the week, he's not well, we went and patched his wall for him. We won't say no because we're not going to burn a bridge because of an ego.
Yeah.
So we try and tackle everything. And then we are dabbling back into commercial again. So we've been doing a few schools, and it just allows, our framers to keep going when builders want to do metal framing themselves, and it allows the sheeting team to keep going. And
I saw on your website you're pretty passionate about the metal framing.
Yeah. So we have one guy full time, and he's just a gun, and just trying to change builders' mentality of using metal and the understanding that it is cheaper and it's perfection, and it's all the buck stops with the plasterer when you pass that on. So it's we want to keep him employed.
So with doing that high-end work, do you do any level 5 finish?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you do the application and
Yep.
So can we dive into this for a minute?
Sure.
So I'm a fan of level 5. We do over the years, we still do quite high-end stuff, and nothing like I had to go and do an inspection yesterday on another job we've got coming up on a renovation, and the ceiling on this joint is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But we got into level 5. We've done jobs where the entire house has been level 5. It's been a huge job, but there's actually a lot in plastering. Like when we started this off, we was like, we're just the plasterer, but there's actually a lot to plastering, isn't there?
Yeah.
To get a good finish.
Absolutely.
And our plasterer is incredible. We love him. He works very closely with us. And I don't know, but for people listening, maybe they have just overlooked plastering and haven't thought a lot of it. But the final product, so we ring a lot of our jobs have lots of glass. So our plasterer will generally come to site and help us out with the direction sheets. So whether he's doing the drop ceilings or we're doing or whatever, because obviously the way that we frame our ceilings depends on the way you guys run your sheets.
Absolutely.
And then the direction the joints run away from the glass has a impact.
Glancing light.
On what you see when the job's finished.
Yep.
And then the amount of builders that I've talked to over the years and plasterers that I say, do you do a level 5 finish? They're like, what's level 5 finish?
Yeah, no.
So if you're doing a level 5 finish, you're doing a specialty product.
Yeah, well, it's we were just putting up a post today or the past 2 days about it, and it's for people don't understand. If you're using a dark paint colour, you will see those imperfections unless you level 5 finish it.
Yeah.
If you're in a skylight or if you're in somewhere with large amounts of natural light, you will see those boards.
Reflections off pools, reflections off lower roofs.
Yeah. I was lying down on the floor with my kids in the games room yesterday, actually. We've got 2 sets of lights in there. One's some down lights and one was like this little feature light. And we had the feature light on, and I'm looking up at my husband, and we didn't plaster our house, but I'm looking up and I'm like, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Like, it's every joint.
Yeah.
And he's like, but watch this. And he turns off the feature light and turns on the down lights, and he's like, voila, they're gone.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
That's actually I don't know if the story was ever true or not, but from what I was told, that is why downlights took off, because they helped hide a lot of the imperfections.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's a cheaper option, isn't it? And now it's an energy saver, and why not? Yeah.
So are you doing because level 5 is lots of, you can spray it on, you can roll it on, what?
Yeah, we roll it on with a paint roller and then get our, I'm not a plasterer, but you get your little trowel thing that, look on my Instagram and you'll see what the boys do. And they make it perfect.
Yeah, you apply it. Well, it's similar to rendering. You put it on, you screed it off, and then it costs a lot more to do.
It does.
Because the labour involves huge.
Yes.
the way I've worked, like I sell it to my clients. So we do the pack process, which is paid as a consultant. So we're involved through design. So as soon as the design starts to have lots of windows and there might be a pool right up against the house and I can tell there's going to be an issue, I explain to my clients, look, and quite often we'll look at pictures or I'll show them another job of ours, but I try and knock everything that used to give me issues in the past, I knock it on the head early. So I explain to the clients, the only way that we'll get a perfect wall, and I still can't guarantee it's going to be perfect, is if we level 5. And the way that I explain it is it's like the preparation on a high-end car. So you have the different textures on a wall, like the plasterboard itself has a texture, the setting of the joints has a texture, and then you paint it, and you'll always, in certain lights, you're always going to see that difference. So level 5 is putting a consistent finish over the entire wall, and then the labor involved is once that's done, it's all got to be sanded. Like the entire surface of the entire house has to be sanded. It's not like just sanding the joints and the patches. Like, it's a big deal.
Man, you must have some dust in the homes you're doing.
Well, that's how you get a good finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And look, I think that's all like yourselves. It's part of being a more professional business. Like when you start to offer those types of services, because to me, as a plastering company offering a level 5 finish, that shows that you want to be at the top of the game. Like you want to be doing things that are different to other plasterers.
We want to stand out from the rest.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You've obviously become very passionate about working in the building industry. We touched on before, like the building industry's run off the back of females sitting at home a lot of the time after hours on top of their own profession or whatever. Like, what advice have you got for, I guess, other females that are sitting behind the scenes, getting caught up with all the stress and the bills and the running of a building business? Like,
would be to own it. So it took me a long time to acknowledge that it was also my company. As much as I'm not the director, I'm a beneficiary. And what we've had to do is structure our personal assets. So I'm wealthy over here, and my husband owns a business, and he's wealthy over here, and well, not wealthy, but you know what I mean. Like it's something that I've had to wrap my head around our ownership to then go, all right, let's take it and own it and run with it. And once I got my head around it, I realised how much I do contribute, and that if I were to quit, and I've tried a few times, that the business there would be no tomorrow. Like it would be done. And that's the reality. So we've had to learn that my strengths are the back end and my husband is the front end. And that's how we've built it.
So what advice would you give for, like, you obviously got to a point where you're like, I have to be all in. Like, I can't have my own career. Like, we need to go all in. We need to have the family business. Like, that's a big decision. Yeah.
Well, we were forced to create the company together, and I was on maternity leave, and we didn't have an option to. I had no choice. We had to make money. We had to have an income. So I was very much so starting the business up while my husband was trying to rack up business, and I was learning how to just run a business. But it took me 2 or 3 years, and then I got introduced to Awesome Women in Construction, which is a not-for-profit. And they started up a course for confident women in construction. So I sat in on their pilot and haven't looked back since. So it's just taught me to acknowledge myself in the role, to be unapologetically myself, and to stop trying to be something that I'm not.
Was that with Amanda?
Yeah, so that was with Amanda and Jacqueline. So Jacqueline's now my mentor, and she ran the course from her experience. And Amanda obviously recruited everyone to sit in on it, and they're about to launch their next round.
I was going to say, is that something that women out there can get involved with? Check out?
So it's due to launch in the end of August. But I haven't looked back since. I'm very, very thankful I did it. You know, since having done that course, I walk onto site, and I'm really proud to be there, and I'm proud to see the guys, and to know that I'm walking onto site owning it, and I own this business, and you're not here to walk over me, and I do have a say, and a big say.
Well, can we talk about that a bit? Because I know when Camille, my wife, first started in the business, she got a lot of, like, there was days when, like, she'd ring me or I'd rock back to the office and she'd just be in tears because of a reaction that someone had had with her, or even just as simple as someone not wanting to talk to her because she was a female and, oh, you don't understand. Like,
Yeah. So I've had many run-ins with staff. I've had run-ins with you name it. A staff member wouldn't respect me I chose not to give him a pay rise when he asked, and he just said, well, didn't say, but essentially went, yes, Kim, hung up, and then bitched to all our staff about me behind my back, and my respect levels with the whole staff just went down, and, Chinese whispers start, and I've just gone, no. I'm a blunt person. I'm very forward, and I've had to learn to tailor that back a bit because everyone has, a bit of a heart.
Yeah.
But certainly I've just had to learn to go, this is what I expect from you. You're either going to give it or you're not.
Yeah.
And my husband and I are very, very 50-50 in the business, in our general life. As soon as we hired a supervisor, boom, he started doing kid drop off. As soon as he's free, his time freed up, he got more responsibilities. He's learned how to use a washing machine. It's one of those things that I am very 50-50. So even with our guys, I say to them, because most of our guys have young kids, I expect if their kids are sick, 50-50 with their partner. I'm more than happy.
Love it.
If they're as long as their wife or partner is, having 50% to go run and pick up the kid from school, so can they. So we accept that, but they get sick days. They're allowed to use their personal sick days. They're allowed to accrue bank hours to be able to use that when their kids are sick. And if they're...
It's massive, in it? Like, building a good culture in your business, that is huge.
You have to.
We've got a couple of old school guys in our team, and they just I have to force them to do that sort of thing. But the way I look at it is, if I'm spending time, money, energy, I'm improving myself so I can spend more time with my family and those sorts of things, they should be as well. So I'm all for that, picking kids up, dropping kids off, really encouraging school events, sports days,
100%.
First day of school.
Yeah, we want every one of our guys to see their kid run that race. Absolutely. We turn around and say to them, if whatever, there's no excuses. Whatever I'm doing in my family, I expect you to be able to do in your own family. So 38 hours is a very norm for us. They obviously get paid overtime if they do it, but most of them choose not to because they want to spend time with their families and go for it. Most of our builders, they want a guy on site on a Saturday, but if that means that they're not going to be able to take their kid to karate, well, then that's their priority. Family is always first. We've got one of our guys is off this week because his child's in hospital. I'm like, right, what can we do? And I'll go, you've got annual leave accrued. You want it? Let's do it. Boom. It's they need to have options instead of...
It's those little things, that make a huge difference. So have you ever, just going back to what you were talking about with getting a bit of slack being a female, do you do ordering and stuff for your materials? Do you talk to suppliers? Or?
Oh yeah, I go to the Christmas parties and have way too many wines, and then they go, oh, she's all right, so they might invite me to the odd concert and go, oh shit, maybe not. I won't get invited for a few more months.
But in the early days, did you get taken seriously?
No.
Yeah.
No, because I will go into our supplier's office and say hello to everyone now, and they know who I am, or they quickly learn who I am. We're a big friendship base, so we our main supplier, we scratch each other's back. They're much bigger than we are. We're just a little man in the field, but I'm teaching them social media. It's something that they all know me now. Absolutely. Yeah. And we enjoy it. They'll come play golf with us. I'll go out to the golf course with the boys. And if I can, I still have kids. It's either my husband or I. But, we absolutely, one of us is always involved.
Yeah, no, it's bloody awesome. So we'll start to wrap it up. But for women sitting at home, maybe wondering if they should take that step and join the family business or all that type of stuff, what's a couple of things they should do, or what's your advice advice for just taking that and running with it?
Yeah, well, first of all, would be learning what your job role is. So most people take for granted that they're only just doing the Xero or the MyOb or whatever. What can your job role be and what can you bring to your business? Because at the end of the day, you are an employee. I get paid a wage. My husband gets paid a wage. We get paid the same wage.
Yeah.
You are entitled to a wage. Just because you might not think you can or can afford it, find a way for your business to afford it, because it'll pay off. Your business will grow, or you'll get that dream that you're wanting to achieve, and you can do it by being involved in the company. It's possible.
Jeez, this might be a while before we wrap it up, because it just brought me. I think that's super important. Like, you have to get paid. We were in the wrong mindset and made the bad decisions. So when my wife finished maternity leave, again, I've told the story 100 times, but I'd not long put on an office lady. Her husband got transferred. She had to leave, and my wife's like, "Well, I'm about to get off maternity leave. Why don't I work in the business?" And like, our first thought was, awesome, like free, like we won't have to pay, we won't have to employ someone, like we're going to be ahead of the next builder. And that, being in that mindset, put us through 2 years of hell, because my wife just felt completely undervalued or
100%.
not respected, and like, literally, what am I worth?
But it's even for tax. Like, builders or the main breadwinner will earn a huge income, right? But if you split that and you both earn the same wage, your tax reduces significantly. Just, finding ways to minimize that. It's an easy way. You're all of a sudden worthy in the business. You're both level, so no one's earning more, and you're a team.
Yeah. 100%. Like, and it is so powerful for your mindset, isn't it? When you feel valued and you feel respected and you're earning money and that money is helping your family, like you said, grow, reach your goals. Like, it is power.
Every time we've given ourselves a pay rise in the business, we've always paid ourselves a wage. We don't like we're very cautious with how we run the business. And every time we're due a rise, my husband and I both get the same at the same time. It's a tax deduction, but it's a way to avoid. But it's also
reduce. It's a way to reduce.
It's also a way for us both to be on the same level. I don't want to be the one that's going, why that, I've tried to quit many times because I feel unworthy. And my husband now laughs at me. If I'm having a bad day and he's like, and then what are you going to do? Come on. It's I have a very, very prominent role in our business. And I now understand I do, and I'm worthy of that.
How do you overcome those moments when you want to quit? And
oh man, I grab a really big bottle of wine and scull that like no tomorrow, and then give my husband a lot of dirty looks and a lot of stomping feet.
Yeah,
and then I get over it.
It is challenging, isn't it, working together, but it's also very rewarding.
It is. We 100% have our moments. And like, we've had our guys working in our home recently, and they're just and that was us like downplaying it because we had our guys working at home. But it's definitely a challenge, but we our relationship as a team is like tenfold because of it. No,
look, Kim, it's been absolutely awesome having you on board. I think you've given so much value today, and it's been another cracking podcast. So thanks very much for giving us the time. And I really hope that there's lots of females out there that have heard this today and will take that next step and just dive in and run it. And because it's very rewarding, and you can have incredible businesses when couples get on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, look, guys, if you like what we talk about, like, subscribe, share, comment, all those types of things. And we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast.
Are you ready to build smarter, live better, and enjoy life? Then head over to livelikebuild.com/elevate to get started.
Everything discussed during the Level Up podcast with me, Dwayne Pearce, is based solely on my own personal experiences and those experiences of my guests. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. We recommend that you obtain your own professional advice in respect to the topics discussed during this podcast.